Okay, I think this is working. It's my first time using OBS, this new streaming software, so you'll have to bear with me if it's not coming through okay. But yeah, welcome to the Hoop Show. This is going to be my mid-season review. My name is Ben Reef. There you go. You can see my face. And I am the host of the Hoop Show. And it is Monday night, Queen's birthday. So it's a little bit late. I don't normally record these shows this late in the evening, but we've been away for the last few days, travelling around the countryside, enjoying, it's been terrible weather, but enjoying a bit of time away from work. We had Friday off as well, so we've had a nice long 4-day weekend. But let's get into it. Let's get into the review. Now, I'm going to have a look at some of the big wins, some of the great wins, and some of the bad losses this year. We all got a bit excited round one, didn't we? When we all talked about this, hyped up this new game plan, and on a sunny day at the MCG in round one, didn't it look good against the Bombers? That was great. Another good win we had was against the Lions. I think we had Selwood and Stewart out that day, so that was an amazing performance that the boys held on and just looked in control the whole game. It was great to see them just put in that really Geelong-like performance that we just walked away from that game. Just so proud of them. It was at a home game, of course, and maybe things would have been a little bit different and maybe a bit more tougher at the Gabba, but we got the job done. Under the pump we were with some really key players out of that side. And the game we just had against the Doggies, again, it was a must-win game for us, and we did what we needed to do, and we got the job done, and we were challenged. Those Doggies came at us really hard in those second and third quarters, and we got the job done. Now, on the other side, on the dark side, the Sydney Swans game, there's a lot of pain from Sydney. I don't know what they do it to us all the time. But it was the Buddy show. Buddy kicked his 1,000th goal, and it was never meant to be a win for us. But we just really didn't click. Everything we did right in round one all fell apart in round two, and I guess you can expect a bit of inconsistency with a new game style going into the season. But that loss left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like that one. Clearly, I don't like losing. None of us like losing to the scum in Hawthorn, but you know they'll get us every now and then, and they just got us by a goal or two. So good on them, I suppose. We had the game won pretty much. Well, not won, but we were in front by a fair bit, and they came over the top pretty hard in that last quarter. And I was just getting back from the Gold Coast, and I was excited to see the game, and then not so excited to see the result in the end. And the Saints, look, we looked pretty good again. Looked like we had that game under control. So many games we should have had won. We could be 11-1. 12 and 10-3 or 10-2 or something like that. I thought we should have had the Saints game. We had their measure, and then they just were a little 20-minute, 30-minute burst, and they had us. And that was a bit frustrating. But look, you can't win them all, and that was one of those ones where we'll rue that at the end of the year possibly, and we'd want to be. I was hoping we'd be sort of first or second at the moment with just a couple of losses, but that's a bit. I'm greedy. I'm a greedy Geelong supporter that likes to see our team get lots of wins, especially early in the season. But we do have a good run home. But let's have a look at some of the big moments, or some of the big moments for me that I thought throughout the year. I was really pleased with Tom Stewart's dominance. A couple of games he's had 40 touches, and just absolutely torn the competition apart. And if he's not the best backman going around at the moment, he's got to be on the podium at least. I'd be surprised if he wasn't the best backman. I'd love to hear an argument about who would be better than him at the moment, halfway through the season at least. So he's definitely a lock for All Australia unless an injury gets him again, which it did late last year. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Another one who's probably nudging him a little bit at this stage for the Carji Greaves medal is Jezza. He's had a couple of big bags. He's currently leading the Coleman medal. Can't really ask for much more, and it just goes to show what if he's had a healthy pre-season, no injuries. He had a shocking start, didn't play till the West Coast game last year, I think round 6 or something like that. So he had a really rough start, and then he missed a few more throughout the year. So this year so far he's just been flying, and Hawkins just a little dropped at maybe 5%, but still probably all Australian form for Tom Hawkins. But what we've come to see from him, but just Cameron's filled that void. I'm talking like Hawkins is washed up. He's far from that. I think it just probably goes to show how Cameron's taken over the number one forward role from Hawkins in the last 6 to 12 months. The big one for me, the huge comeback win against Collingwood, didn't we love that? We didn't like the lead up to that, I suppose, and how we were going, but Jezza again did what he needed to do in that last quarter, and we came storming home. I can't remember how much exactly we won by, but we were down a bit, over 30 I think it was, and comfortably won it in the end. So it was crazy that quarter. I think it was 8 goals or something like that. It was insane. It was great. I love the Ollie Dempsey fan club. I think that was over in Tassie. That was great. I haven't seen those boys again. Maybe they have been there, but that was good to see. And Ollie had a couple of games in the ones, and now he's gone back to work on his game a little bit in the twos, and hopefully we'll see him again this year. But hopefully we'll see him again. But if not, let's hope that he puts the work in the off season and comes back strong next year and plays 10 to 15 games next year. That'll be great. And I guess the game plan, for me, I'm not putting this in the positive or negative category. I think we've seen 12 games now. The boys have probably worked out whether it's, or not worked out, had enough of an opportunity to see whether it's going to work for them. Either will or it won't. I'm still going to hold my breath until September because I want to see how it goes under the heat of finals, because that's ideally what it's designed to do. Doesn't really matter winning 19 games. Ideally, you'd like to win as many as you can and finish first or second, but we'll take 16 wins. That's what I'm expecting we're going to get. I'll get to that anyway in a little bit, but I'm expecting Cats just to do enough to make top 4, and then if the game style is as promised, and you never know until you actually test it out in finals, but hopefully we've done everything we need to do. Let's have a look at some of the ticks. So double-headed monster. So I've gone, we've talked about Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron, and what more can you say? At one point they were first and second in the Coleman. Currently we've got, I think Hawkins is third, possibly fourth in the Coleman, and Jess is number 1. So who knows where it'll finish at the end of the season. I expect Curnow, who was leading, to drop off a little bit as the season goes on. They've got some tough games, but Carlton's a bit of a surprise pack, and they keep surprising week in, week out. So who knows? Who knows on that one? Tyson Stengers, he's been the recruit of the year for mine. I'm trying to think of some other players that might be challenging him for that. And not only is he the recruit of the year, he's probably not far behind the likes of someone like a Charlie Cameron for that All-Australian spot. So if they go with a small forward, they often go with a lot of bigs. But we'll wait and see on that one. If he keeps going the way he is, I think he's kicking 2.5 to 3 goals a game. It's pretty crazy for his debut year at the Cats. I've got a pretty good run. He might be lucky to kick a bag or 2. Really, though, I think we're all just happy if he can stay dangerous, kick his 1 or 2 a game. That'd be great. Some weeks he'll go better than others. Those smalls they're just opportunity players, I guess. And I hope he feels a bit more. He meshes a lot more with the lads, and we see him a little bit through the high forward, that sort of grind mile. If he gets to build his tank a little bit more. I like what I see when I see him run through the midfield and link up. And of course I love seeing him around the goals as well. But Geelong looks really scary good when he's 60, 70 metres out and he's involved with the scoring chain. So he's been great. Sam DeConning featured in this slide. He's just become a king, hasn't he? Well, he's a prince at the moment. We'll call him Sam DePrince for now, but give him a year or so. I nearly had him in my best players. I'll come to that later, but he's been that good this year, and I think he's missed a game. He's been amazing. Well, I think we've talked about him a lot over the last few weeks. I think he'll end up winning the Rising Star the way he's going. I mean, who knows? They might rest him at some point. He might have a bit of a drop off in form. I hope he doesn't, because I hope he keeps his spot for the whole year and stays fit and healthy. That'd be great, and I'd love to see him play a bit of finals action. That'll be good. Heart and soul. Who are we talking about there? Well, we're talking about Tom Adkins. Doesn't he just make you proud when he puts the hoops on and runs out and tackles and chases and does all the little things that doesn't get a lot of stats for it, things like that. So I think a lot of us are starting to take notice of Tom Adkins. He's tackling pressure. He's just a hard man that loves it and gets in there and gets the dirty stuff done. And we've really needed him. He's just made a big difference, and hopefully he'll keep that going as well, because we really need him to stand up in the crunch in September, when those whips are cracking and the boys need a bit of fire. Hopefully he'll bring that. He's great, and just I guess the whole team. Atkins is leading the way, but just our tackle pressure, our tackles. I think we're third in the comp for average tackles, about 60 odd a game. So we're doing really well in that area. Hopefully we'll keep that up. And that's what I want to see in September as well. I want to see the boys working really hard to get the ball and pressure and chase when we haven't got it. I'd like to see a little bit more in the forward 50. I'm not seeing enough of that at the moment, but hopefully with Gary Rowan now 2 games back, and hopefully he'll stay fit. And Grind keeps his confidence up, and Grind needs to work on his tackling a little bit, but they tend to slip a little bit when he has a crack at it. But yeah, it's not too bad. So I think tackling was a big one for me. Crosses, all right. We've got Higgins pictured here. I'll come to that. Injuries to key players. Yeah, look, we've struggled this year. I mean, some other teams have as well. We've been pretty lucky with the COVID, but we've still haven't got Menengola back. We haven't. Gary Rowan's only just come back. Jack Henry's been away. Paddy's just getting old and unfortunately needs to be rested a bit and has these little injuries popping up every now and then. You can name a bunch, and who's to say we've got 10 games to go for the regular season. We're not going to get more injuries along the way, but hopefully they're relatively minor in nature, a couple of weeks here or there, and hopefully, come September we're relatively fit and everyone's doing okay. Look, I'm frustrated with the fade outs. I think we all are. There's been some moments in games where we've just the game's just slipped away in the space of half an hour or 40 minutes, and a lot of the good work that we've done has just come undone. So it's sort of, that's the sign of a team that's finding their way a little bit. You usually see that a lot with young teams just figuring themselves out. It's tough, but yeah, I'm trying to be patient with that. But yeah, it's not always easy. So we could talk about the ongoing ruck issues forever. Another year goes by. How many years has it been now that we haven't had a ruck? Feels like since Brad Hotton's retired, but. Look, Stanley, when he's going well, and don't get me wrong, he's had a couple of years here and there or periods within years where he's been fantastic. But it just seems to be another year where no one's really nailing down that spot. Blitzales looks okay, but we lose a lot when he's not down back. I've been making a case a fair bit lately that I think we're better with him in the ruck, and I think we've managed so far at least to cover his loss down back. Whether that stays the case for the rest of the year, who knows? But yeah, I'm happy to keep Blitzarves in the ruck, and I think we just look a bit better when Stanley's not in the side and Blitzarves has taken that role. But we'll see. Now I think the end has come. That's why I've got Higgins here. I think the end has come for him and a few others. Delhouse. It's not really a cross it's just the way things go. Some players drop off towards the end of their career, but sadly for those two, it looks like they're out of favour with the selection committee at the moment. They might come back and play a few more games, but we'll wait and see. They might just turn it on. They might find some form in the VFL and force their way back in. And if they do, good on them. But at this stage, it looks like they're finishing up, and there's probably one or two others. I mean, the jury's still out on Gary Rowan. I think he'll. I was doubtful that he would cement his spot. I'm hopeful that over the next 4 weeks he'll stay injury free and he'll be doing enough to retain his spot in the side. But yeah, there's a couple of the older players that even Menengola, you could make a case he was flying last year and the year before, but if he gets another injury, it's going to be hard for him to. I don't think it's the end for Menengola, but definitely for Higgins and Dahl, and there might be someone else I've missed. Then the elusive elite. Now, I think and Guthrie played well last week, Cam Guthrie, but I've put him. It's one of those kind of B plus players. Parfitt's probably a B type player. I really wanted them to take this next step and become A grade, and I just feel like this was the year they were going to do it, or needed to do it, maybe more to the point. It just hasn't happened. I'd like to see. I was really hoping that. I mean, Guthrie's he's been all Australian, so you could say, yeah, well, fair enough. He's made that status, but he's dropped back a little bit. Hasn't been able to maintain it, I guess. And Parfitt just hasn't taken that next step. Grind Mize, you could almost make a case he's a fringe player now, but he's long enough in the system that you want him to be that 40 goals a year sort of goal kicker and a lot more damaging through the midfield. But he had a good game recently, but his year's been well down. He's pretty lucky to be in the side, all things considered. But I hope he recaptures some of that form. And I don't think he'll ever become an A-grader, but no, I don't know. I think, I think I'd like to see Parfitt sort of take that next step. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment, so we're not going to see that. Anyway, so injuries. Look, I think we've known. I mentioned Menengola, and he's back in the VFL now, but can't seem to get on the park. And just seems like these injuries just never go away. So hopefully Menengola gets back on the field and stops spending time in hospitals. And no, he's not in hospital, but hopefully we get him back and he's fit and firing. I think I really rate him significantly, and I want to see him go well. Whether he'll find it and he'll have enough time to get back to where he's best, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's been good to see a few debutants the first half of this year. Cooper Stevens, Shannon Neal, Ollie Twisties Dempsey, and Mitch Knevitt or Nevitt or however you say it. So good to see 4 boys get a game. I think that'll probably be it for the year. I think if anything, a few more. These got Cooper Stevens is still on the team, and I can't see him making way anytime soon. Out of the rest of the 3, I think it'll just be probably maybe Shannon Neal and Dempsey might get another one. I think Nevitt might have to wait a little bit longer, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see many of them for the rest of the year. I think we've seen enough. I think hopefully they've had enough of a taste and they'll go back and work really hard and put their best foot forward in 2023. And there might be a couple of players that make way and they'll get a bit more guaranteed game time next time around. Now, this is hard actually, but my top 5 so far this year. Man in the middle, Jezza. I've got him as... I didn't really want to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I've just got a group, I guess. But I have put him in the middle. I'm probably leaning towards him being the best player, but I couldn't really rank him, so I had Jezza in there, and clearly you've got Tom Stewart. You're crazy if you don't. I'm a big Blick Arbs fan. Love him. You might be surprised that I've got Joel Selwood in there. I think just look at his stats, the thing he's doing, the thing he does. He's showing signs of age, and we're seeing a few more mistakes and whatnot, and his disposal efficiency is not as high as some others, but he's working hard and he's still tackling like a madman. You can't not have Tommy Hawkins there. He's probably all Australian. We could potentially have 4 all Australians, I'm guessing. I think the 3, Tom Stewart, Jezza, and Tom Hawkins, I think are the most likely. Potentially Blitzarves. I don't know. Depends how the selectors look at that one, but there's a lot of players. You can't just be too biased about Geelong and to the exclusion of all others. But I'd have Blitzarves as one of the better players. He's just so versatile. He can do anything. So if they're going to go for that type of player in the All Australian team, at least on a bench, I'd name him. But I'm a biased Geelong supporter. Now there's a few players I've got on my fringe 5. The usual suspects, I guess. I've got Cooper Stevens there just because he's there at the moment, but I think in September he might make way unless he starts really sort of making a move now. He's probably just holding on at the minute, I'd say. Doing enough there's no reason to get rid of him. Let's get games with him, but in big finals, I just want to make sure that we've got all the best 22 going. Baby Guthrie, goodness me, hasn't he come good this year? It's been great. I'm glad they stuck with him. I was probably one of those ones, hand up in the air, saying, I didn't have faith in him last year or the year before, and kind of part of me was like, maybe this will be the year. And in my heart of hearts, I didn't really believe it though. But I'm really loving what I'm seeing. Reece, look, he's always there. Unfortunately, it's an ongoing ruck issue. He's a good, honest player, but he's just not probably good enough to be the ruckman that we need, and that's unfortunate that there's just no one else, and he's the best of, I guess, a bunch that probably aren't good enough to be the number 1 ruckman. Brian Myers, unfortunately, I didn't want him to put him in this group, but I think he probably finds himself there this year, sadly. I hope he gets himself into that sort of top 22 every week, but I'd say it's dependent upon his confidence. Sometimes he just looks really confident, other times he just looks shot. And Sparkle Narkle, I think his papers are marked a little bit. I think we've seen what we've seen, and we know what to expect from him now. And I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't work too hard the other way. And now he doesn't seem to be getting too many possessions either. So he's good. He's good coverage, probably like what Zach Guthrie was last couple of years. Like he gets games when we've got injuries and things like that, but he's definitely not demanding a spot in the top 22, unfortunately. But there's always a bunch of guys on the team, and nothing. I'm not having a crack at Sparkle Narkle at all. I just think he's probably in that group, and I'd love a 22 that would pick themselves week in, week out and have no injuries, but sadly that's not the case. I'd actually love a bunch of fringe players that pick themselves every week, but we just can't fit them in at the moment. I wouldn't say that list of fringe players probably ticks that. I mean, have a look at them. I don't know. You tell me. Do they tick the box? Being picked automatically. You can start to make the argument that Baby Guthrie could be. Grind has in the past. And some people might argue, well, Stanley's a recognised ruckman. We need a recognised ruckman. We don't want Blitzovers doing it. So I mean, that's debatable, but that's the way I'd go with it. Now let's have a bit of a look at the run home coming up. We've got 5 games at GMHBA, 2 games against top 4 teams, which is pretty good. So 2 out of the 10 against top 4. 3 of them are actually against the bottom 4, bookended by games against West Coast. So we've got West Coast coming up, and then I think the last game of the year we've got West Coast again at home. So that's looking pretty good. Game plan, rock solid. I think if it's not going to be rock solid in the last 10 weeks of the year, it never will be. So I think, if anything, the hard work's been done, and you'd like to think that the last few weeks of the year, we'll see. We'll see that come to fruition. Let's hope so anyway. So my prediction, I'm going to go see the Cats drop 2 out of the next 10. So win 8 of the next 10. Finish on 18 wins, which is not too bad. Sorry, 16 wins, not too bad. That'll probably see us finish 2nd or 3rd, depending on other results. Again, not too bad. You'd probably want to finish 1st or 2nd. And, some people are tipping the Cats to go 10 straight. I'm just being a little bit realistic. I think 8's probably roundabout. I'm happy that Melbourne's starting to look a bit off, so we've got them at home, and they might be ripe for the picking. I didn't have them as a win, but that we might, if we can get 17 wins, that really changes things for us. And so if we can do all the right things against the teams that we should beat, and then just sneak 1 or 2, that'll really set us up. But that's just me hoping. Look, I think Jez is going to probably end up getting the Coleman. I can't see him slowing down unless with injury. I think the draw looks really good for him. So unless we rest him, or as I said, injuries, or for whatever reason things just go pear shaped, I can't see him losing it. I think he'll do it comfortably in the end by 10 goals or so. Hawkins will be up there. He gets his 2 or 3 or 4 goals a game, but I think Hawkins will probably finish top 5, just trail off a little bit, and let Jezza do his bit. I think Sam DeConning's going to end up continuing his good form. I hope he does, and take out the rising star. I think there's more and more talk in AFL circles about that. So wouldn't that be nice if he did that? I think it'd be great, wouldn't it? Anyway, so look, that's been my review. Overall, to summarise it, I guess I'm happy, I suppose, with the first 12 rounds, 12 games of the year, 8 and 4. Look, you'd want to be 9 and 3 or 10 and 2. But I think, considering at the start of the season, if you had told me we were going to be 8 and 4, just on the outside of the top 4, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. I was probably a bit brash and thought Cats weren't going to lose too many games and finish top. I get carried away. I'm a Geelong supporter. But again, in my heart, I probably would have. And a lot of people would say, no, we had Geelong sort of dropping off a little bit. And that's been the narrative most years, isn't it? Our Cats have fallen away, and this is the year they're not going to do it. And there's signs of that in terms of some of the personnel. Danger's looking like he's just hanging on, and Selwood's playing well. I've got him in my top 5, but I can just see the cliff really close with Selwood. It's any day now. You just think, it's going to come quick, and I hope this is his last year, because I don't want to see Selwood just not being the player he once was. Anyway, I hope he goes out with the premiership. I'm still predicting, Cats fans, we're going to win the premiership, and Selwood's going to hold that cup up, and we'll have that footage of him just lifting that cup up with Chris Scott for the rest of our days. And won't that be great? Just the confetti flying behind him and all the boys jumping on his shoulders. And oh my God, if you don't tear up seeing Selwood lift the cup, you're not human. You know, I'm already getting emotional thinking about it. It's not happened yet. We've got to win a few more games, Cats fans. Anyway, that's been the show. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It's just a mid-season review. It's hard during buy round, isn't it? But I guess it gives you that opportunity to do some of this stuff. So yeah, check out some of the other channels. We've got the interview with the behind the play interview. Paul James is interviewing Steve Bracks. That's just gone live. It's gone up. And we've got Kieran Fields with his last time series, which we're looking for. I've got the buy round. Poor fella's just had to wait a week or two to get going with that, but that's looking really good. And of course, we've got the Draft Wars. We've had a week off, so there's a big episode of Draft Wars coming up. So there's a fourth special guest, which you may know potentially. So I would encourage you all to tune in for that. At some stage on Wednesday, it'll probably drop on Wednesday morning in the wee hours of the morning. So check that one out. And I'll keep putting stuff out and keep chatting away with you guys on Twitter. But that's me. I'm out. I'm done. I'm going to bed and got work tomorrow. So you stay safe and look after yourself and keep checking in the channel for more. And go Cats. Take care.